because I love to see the audience. Good evening. I still can't vote. Good evening, everybody. And thank you for staying behind. My name is Bonnie Greer. And I used to be on the board here at the Royal Stratford East. And I've had a play on this stage, so I know this stage. And Stratford East is like, I grew up in America, as you can tell, and Stratford East has always been a part of my like coming of age and everything. This theater has got enormous history in world theater, in British theater, and English theater, and working class theater. I mean, this is like one of the jewels of world theater. This theater, this place, and the energy. And so, I mean, there's a lot to say, a lot that I want to say tonight, which I ain't going to do because I got a terrible cold just like Roy does, except I came and Roy didn't. So I'm just really going to stay to my distance from this company. First of all, I would ask you to please give a round of applause to this incredible company and their director. Wonderful, amazing company and amazing performances. I've known Roy for a long time. I knew Roy before he was Roy, as they used to say, and he's one of the great poets of the English-speaking theater. And Roy's very deceptive. He kind of looks like he's writing what you hear on the street, but of course, you don't hear poetry on the street. And this is what Roy writes. I rank him personally, because I've taught playwriting and I'm a critic. I rank him right up there with Pinter. I rank him with Mamet. I rank him with Bennett. I rank him with all those great playwright poets who bring their people on the stage. And his ear is just amazing. He still makes me laugh. And I don't even know how Roy finds all this language. I think he invents some of it, but it's just an amazing thing. So the way I'd like to structure this, if it's okay with you guys, is maybe 15 or 20 minutes with questions on stage, and then open it up to you all out in the audience for reactions, feedback, whatever. This is, let me tell you, for a director and actors and, writer, kind of we don't like facing the audience. I mean, it's like, you don't know what's going to be coming out of people's mouths, and people got to get up on stage the next day. So, I'm just saying that to say this is an incredible thing that they're doing. Let me just start with Marcus, who I have to say the French have a word for the way theater is put together. It's called mise en scène, and it's not just about putting actors on stage and directing them and all of this. It's about the feeling on the stage. It's about the sort of relationship of all the elements of the stage as a plastic art. The lighting, the scenario, all of this. What Roy has done, for those of you who know Sophocles, the original, and this is plays thousands of years old, and this is one of the cornerstones of Western drama. This is one of the biggies. This will outlive all of us and maybe the world as well. This is a big play, big as they come. And Roy's kind of like done something with it. It works. It works beautifully, but he's done what a lot of playwrights don't like to do. Is like he's walked in, he's investigated it, he's put it back together again, and then he's done his own thing at the end. Marcus, as director, first of all, what is the kind of theory or feeling behind the kind of stagecraft you like to do? What are you exactly doing when you... And also, when you finally get the script, because of course, the script is the script. The actors make the play and the company. And of course you, at the end of the day, make the play. Playwrights don't write plays, we write scripts. And hopefully, if we're lucky with a company like this, we get a play. Your own sort of mise en scène, your own craft, your own sort of work as director of this theater company and When you got the script and you signed off and said, okay, we got it, how did you approach it?
Well, thank you, Bonnie. It's a really interesting process, and this is a collaborative process. Roy was with us in rehearsal for two and a half weeks of the 4 weeks we had, because part of the process is that the script was evolving right the way through the rehearsal. So it's a bit like when we get the script, we don't sort of get it as a final sort of recipe like Jamie Oliver, and you just have to follow the instructions. Yeah. It's part of a growing way that the actors were able to feed in terms of the process of the characterization. And we made some discoveries, because when you're making the play, you have a lot of the materials with you. So you have the words and the text, you've got the backstory, you've got the previous the history of the Sophocles. Also, what we wanted to do in here was to make sure that we created a sort of world which felt otherworldly but also familiar. And we wanted to create a space that had a kind of an echo to the Greek tradition. So we've got our big columns, but in here they're kind of half-built and sort of falling apart.
So it's like homage to Greece. Yeah.
The whole kind of Greek thing was the kind of the big open space. We didn't want to have a lot of props. We didn't have a lot of naturalism. We wanted to make it sure that it was actors' theatre working in a really big open space with the 6 pillars and with quite a big open apron stage. And the opportunity for that meant that it was about the performers, and it was about the language, and it was about the narrative. I mean, some of the changes that, of course, had come through, which aren't in the Sophocles, which some people sort of pick us up on, were that Aemon and Antigone don't actually meet in the original. But for us, we went, well, this is a family story. This is about young people dealing with their parents, dealing with their peers. We wanted to put those sequences in, because for sure they would have met. They would have had a conversation. And in part of our rehearsal and our process was to work a lot of improvisation through, not on improvising the text, but in terms of the backstory of the characters, and lots of things we did with sort of mobile phones and conversations and people leaving voicemails, and setting it very much now. But we were very clear that this was Thebes, but it was Roy's version of Thebes. It was, the stakes were raised, something as bad had happened. And the genesis of this piece is when we last opened the piece. I've done 3 pieces with Roy now. We've worked together over 9 years. And we opened The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner, which he did in adaptation in 2012. And on the opening night of that, I said, okay, Roy, what do you want to do next? He goes, I've always wanted to do Antigone. So that's where that was born. And we really wanted to make that opportunity happen. So for us, the making of the play, and even when we've come back to bring it to Stratford, I mean, we're a company based in York, we're Pilot Theatre, and we made the show in Derby. This is show 71 or 72, because we've been on tour since September. But even when we came here, we did another week and a half's re-rehearsal with edits, cuts, nips and tucks, and little changes in the rehearsal room upstairs to actually prepare it, because it's part of an ongoing process. And for a piece of work that's 2,500 years old, it's right that we should still be grappling and wrestling and making that work in the way that we wanted to do that.
And that the work can actually handle that it can actually be there and not sort of wobble under the process of you bringing your energy and all of your collective energy as actors to this.
Well, I think it's interesting, the term playwright, it's like it's a grapple, and it's a crafting. It's nothing to do with writing. It's like a wheelwright. It's really grappling with the work and making it feel. Because even though we know the legacy is 2,500 years ago, we're making it for now. We're making it for audiences now. We're making it for audiences who are coming to this theatre right now. And we wanted to make it feel as relevant as we could. And Roy said on that day, when he commissioned it, he said, I want to write a version of The Wire that's got a backstory that's about that actually fits into a world of itself with lots of hinterland, but to do something which attacks it. Because Sophocles was writing box sets. It was the box set version, because there were many, many different plays. And we said, this is our version of the box set of Sophocles if Netflix was around.
This is great. And it feels, I said to Marcus and some of the company, I sat here as a critic as well as a writer. And I have to say, Roy, one of his geniuses as a writer is he writes deceptively language that sounds like you think you hear it on the street. I mean, that's kind of the joy of his language. That's kind of the power of his language. But of course, you don't hear this on the street, not really. Words jump out that you recognize, but you don't hear the whole trail of this because this is theater, this is playwriting. And I have to say that the poise of this company the rigid sort of, and I mean rigid in a great sense of the word, precision of this company to stay inside this text, the sort of discipline of it and the craft of it, of staying inside that text, never wavered. Nobody, I'm a synesthete, so I see visual things. Nobody wavered out of this text with, oh, I can talk like this. Nobody did this. And so what you got was beautiful, precise, contemporary acting, but also classical acting, in the sense that the voices here and the nuance here conveyed, for me anyway, the power of verse speaking. I mean, they did this with this text, a damn hard thing to do. And I'm just in awe of this company. I think you guys are tremendous. I want to throw some stuff out here, some words. Everybody wants to speak on it because we don't have a lot of time. And maybe I say who you are too, because I think it's your chance. This is what I took out of it, and this is interesting for me. We have on stage something that's very rare in a play of this caliber. We have the Black patriarchy versus the Black matriarchy, first of all. We have within that sort of huge shape, we have a very strong, feisty Black girl who decides to do her own thing, contrasted with her sister, who is the other kind of person. And we have the son who is standing up to his mom, the kind of relationship that is really in Black communities and many others as well, but for sure, Roy's captured this. I would ask the company, and anybody who wants to speak on this, what did you guys bring to this template? What do you think you brought? What do you think the challenges were for you in this? And if you agree, first of all, you may disagree with me totally, but what did you bring to it? What were your challenges? What are you still developing? What scared you?
Wow, those are big questions. I introduced myself first. My name is Doreen Blackstock, and I played Eunice, the mother, the matriarch. Thank you. Yes, in terms of those questions, what did I bring to it? Well, I have a son, and in real life, and who disagrees with me about practically everything, especially when it comes to who it is that he wants to go out with. And I'm sure that a lot of people here, whether you're young and old, can kind of relate to that. That's what I could bring to it, the conflict that we have about what I think is right for him and him going through his journey and what he knows is right for him. There's always going to be that conflict. So I was able to bring that. And in terms of the other challenges, the reasons why I didn't want them in terms of my own journey of coming from a working class, background, and wanted to be something else, and working within this kind of like new environment of, I wouldn't say it's quite aristocracy, but it's not where I came from, and I don't want to be reminded of it. I want to be known for who I am now. And so that's also something else as well, from a working class background.
You brought like that drive to be.
Yeah, to be something else, especially being in this business, in this industry, coming from a working class background, and then coming into this industry that's very middle class. That can create quite a lot of conflict, actually, in terms of lots of things, dialogue, even at home, lots of things. And every now and again, as my auntie would say, your petticoat shows. So, where you came from shows. And that's what I think you get with Eunice, that she's married to Creo and she wants to be something else. She's worked really hard at it. She's not going to give it up, especially not for the inbred. But, it shows every now and again. And I think you get that when she's trying to get to the heart of what it is that she wants her son to do, which is not to go down the road with this young girl in this story?
Thank you, that's brilliant.
I suppose what I bring to it is testosterone, really. Mark Manero, by the way. Yeah, testosterone and being a man in the way that playing a dictator, the warring and the warmongering and all that stuff, and just letting your testosterone take it to its level. That's what's fun about playing the part as well. Almost to the evilness of it being having a slight bit of humour in it, that he's almost slightly ridiculous in what he's doing, which people to me that are dictators are quite ridiculous.
I guess I want to say, because you're on this stage almost the entire time, and when you're not on here, you're on here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, what? Because there's always a little part of a part where an actor's going, I don't want to do this, I can't do this, I don't think I can do this. Did you feel that way in any way with this?
It's a really deep question. That
I
know. I suppose what gives me slight pause is when I see my son and Antigone lying dead. But I'm a great believer in just going for something. And it's the natural way that you would react, is to tap into that. If you could tap into that, then the pausing and everything is just part of reacting to things in life.
As an actor, does this guy stay with you?
Yeah, sometimes when I'm leaving here, my face is screwed in a position. Because I'm saying the lines in my head, so I'm walking down the street and people are like... But he is with me. Yeah.
Do you think that there's... Sorry to put you on
the spot. Go.
Just because that's a good question.
No, it's an actor. It's like, I'm sure there are actors out here, and you guys performed, for me anyway, an incredibly difficult... This is a difficult script, okay? This script can look like, on the surface, this is about you recognize the language. But this is a very difficult script. It's very difficult because the actors have to stay completely on point in this. You lose attention in this one, and the house of cards comes down. Mm-hmm. So I'm just because it's poetry, so it could just suddenly go into the ether, and the audience will go, like, what the fuck is going on here? Because I don't get this. No, seriously, and it's an unconscious thing with the audience. Audiences, to me, are the geniuses of theater. You can feel when they're thinking, this ain't happening, okay? I like this guy, he's a good actor, but I don't know what he's doing here. And you lose it, but you guys never ever did that. So that's why I'm very interested in, for all of you, craft stuff. Because always actors are asked, especially ethnic minority actors are asked political questions, which are good, it's okay, but you're actors. I'm interested in the craft, the arts. What did you hold on to? What did you build? What did you have to bring? What did you have to throw out? What did you fight with in relation to the script and the director? Because you have to make it your own.
Mm. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Come on. I'm gonna go this way too.
Well, I was going to say, but what you were saying before about holding on to a part of yourself is, I think, as Dawn French said that once, that as you progress as an actor, every part that you play, there's a bit of that part, and I don't know if you feel this because you're a bit older than me, but that there's a bit of every character that you play that sort of stays with you, and as you progress through your career, that maybe the person that you were when you were 20, when you first start acting, that person sort of disappears and becomes an amalgamation of all these different characters. And
yeah,
do you feel that?
What sometimes in this business you can't get parts that you could properly play. You can. Some people are character actors, and some people have a one way of acting. But this part in Antigone, Roy's written it so well and so linear. I feel it's quite easy to do in a way. The way Creole talks is like my dad, my uncle, it's people that I know, older people when I was younger that spoke and scared me. It's all there. It's written that.
And Roy wrote it for you. We knew that you were doing it.
Right.
Wrote it for you on that one.
Okay.
The Rolls Royce to give.
Yeah.
You know, if a writer is writing for you, the writer is writing for your music. The writer, and it's. I always like writing for actors as well because you don't ever really know anything about an actor because an actor doesn't give you all the gifts anyway. They give you what they need to give you. You never know what they've actually got in the locker until you write a part and then they roll it out for you. Like for Mark, this is an amazing, and it's quite obvious that was what. Can I ask Antigone and Ismene?
Hello.
The piece is called Antigone.
Yeah.
And she's the first woman, I'd say, arguably, in world theater. Because this play is one of the bedrocks of Western theater. This is one of the reasons this play's here. The boldness of this woman, Sophocles is written, who's basically standing up to God and to the patriarchy. How did you guys build this? I mean, guys, here I go. This is my American part. How did you build this?
Well, Roy told me that when he was writing Antigone, he sort of had me in mind because I worked with him on Loneliness of a Long Distance Runner.
Okay.
So there have been times where I felt like, why is she doing this? How do I say this? How can I get myself to feel like this? And I'm stressing about it. And he's like, you've got it. It's you. She's you. You're doing it. But I think what was difficult for me was the questioning the God part because I'm like a big believer. And I remember having a conversation with Marcus before where I couldn't really get, when I'm stuck in the hole, I couldn't really get how she felt. I wasn't getting my head around it. This was ages ago, Marcus.
So you're saying you're a believer
in God.
And so you had to grapple with somebody who wasn't.
Yes,
basically.
I couldn't do it. At first, I couldn't really get my head around it. And Marcus said to me, all right, take yourself away from Antigone and your Savannah. And something's happened. Sorry, my name's Savannah, by the way, sorry. And something's happened to you. Someone's died and you've just lost all faith. You don't believe he's there anymore. You're screaming at him, come on then, where are you? I'm stuck in a hole. If you're there, get me out. And he's not there. He's not getting you out. And that was a really big thing for me, like putting myself in that mindset of God is not there. I do not believe in God. That was the biggest thing for me. And when I got it,
How did you get it?
By thinking about things that have happened in my life where I still knew he was there, but something I was questioning him a bit. And I sort of have to put myself back in that sort of...
In the questioning bit.
Yeah. Of why didn't you do this? Why didn't you help me with this? And I just sort of, obviously it's a lot. Antigone's going through something way bigger than me, but I sort of have to put my head back to that. And it's still a bit difficult sometimes, but I'm getting around it more. But that was the biggest challenge for me. Questioning God was the biggest challenge.
See, that is amazing because, of course, if you look at it on the surface, you think it's really about, I would thought you would have said, you know, being a young black woman standing up here, basically. I mean, you know, fighting a big, powerful male figure.
I'm not scared of men now.
No,
that was easy.
No, what I meant was not being scared, I know. But conveying the battle, conveying it, you know, quite precisely the battle. And it's interesting because now I hear you saying, actually, you were grappling with something much higher than that, and that's how it came through.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I still have to try and get my head around the fact that she is just a young 18-year-old girl, and it is quite a big deal that she's standing up to Creon, the most powerful man in their, well, wherever they're living in Thebes, basically. But that sometimes is, I still have to sort of remind myself, she's strong, but he is seen as the strongest, so still sort of keep that in mind. But the God bit was definitely the hardest for me.
That's incredible.
Hello. Hi everyone, my name's Frida Till and I play Esme.
Excellent. Well done.
Thank you.
And because you're kind of in the play, you're sort of her foil in a way. In the original Sophocles, you're kind of like the gentle, fragile, wispy. How did you build that into the kind of character strength that you've made? Because you're not just the opposite of your sister. You're something more than that.
I definitely think there is something in Esme that she believes in what Antigone wants to do is right. She totally believes that it's the right thing to do. But obviously she's got that inner conflict where it's like, my sister wants to go and do this, but I've lost so much already, and why does my family have to continue suffering for everything that's happened? Why do I have to keep on suffering? It's time for peace now.
It's beautiful.
But obviously when she's in the hole, she does mention that I would come, you know, Esme will get up, she'll fight, you know. So when she says that, like, I definitely knew when I saw that line that there has to be something in her, that she would stand up. Yeah, for Tig to believe that she would do something like that. So I definitely had to find some kind of balance to show that she could go that way if it came to, you know, if it really did confront her in the face. Like, obviously, in the second scene where you do see me pleading and begging, I was willing to give up my life because, you know, I was willing to give up my life for it. So that is a type of strength as well, I believe. To give up your life for another.
That's beautiful. That's
you know,
beautiful.
So
that's beautiful.
But also, she'll have nothing left. That's just, you know, in that moment, there is nothing. Her whole world is falling apart. There's nothing left to give. There's nothing left to do apart from do that. So.
And I have to say, you demonstrated just by what you just said now, to me anyway, as did all the cast, a really deep exploration of your part. I mean, that comes across, and just what you just said is profound. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to open this up now, and we got 3 or 4 gentlemen on the stage who haven't said anything, and they're going to. So if anybody's got any sort of feedback or thoughts, and I can't actually see you, so I'm going to do. Is there somebody with their hand up?
To run a microphone downstairs.
I can be a runner.
Thanks, Trina. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I can't see anybody. Yes.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I saw the trilogy of all the Oedipus stuff, which they made into an opera as well, which was really bizarre, and they did them out of order. So you got so confused by the end, but this made it a lot clearer. But anyway, I really, really enjoyed it. I just wondered if any of you had seen the original Sophocles and what you thought of it. And I think there's a Juliette Binoche one just about to start, because a friend of mine, when I said I was coming to see it, said, no, it starts next week. And no, it's a different one. Is it tomorrow? But I don't think they're going to do it in quite such an interesting way. I don't know. But anyway, the question is, have you seen the original?
The original.
What did you think of it? Sorry, not just what have you seen it?
Oh God, you mean like the one with Juliette Stevenson? And is that what you mean? Yeah, I've seen it, and I think we do it justice in the sense that Antigone is, as we said, young, courageous, brave, willing to, in the light of authority, say no to it and do this thing that is really important, which is universally important, to bury the dead. It's really important. So the fact that she's that young and has that spirit, which, you know, a young person will have, is great. In terms of the original and the role that I play, it's nice that the mother gets a voice, because in the original she doesn't. She dies quite quickly. So it's nice to have...
She don't die.
Yeah, it's nice to have a story and a narrative that goes right through to the end that's, you know, meaty and tangible, to, you know. You guys have something?
Hi, hi, I'm Oliver Wilson. I play Soldier One in Paris. Just in terms of the original and stuff like that, in terms of the plays and stuff, I always find it quite interesting, especially when you do classical pieces or a piece of theatre, and I say, what's the original? And I say, well, unless it was in Greek and it's all set in togas, then that's the original, and that's someone's interpretation. And we've been conditioned, not right or wrong, what is a modern, you know, what is the right way to do a classical piece of text. based on the country and the land that country is doing the piece on. So I always find that question quite interesting. What's the original piece of work? But I love what Roy has done, and I love this production because we're trying to do something different. We're trying to move something forward and do a hybrid of something that you may know, recognize because of the dialogue, the lexicon that people use, and possibly what they look like, what they dress like. But we're trying to push something forward and do a hybrid world. And definitely one of the reasons I wanted to be a part of it, because my characters I play as well, is to make people think universally, and those are universal themes, and that's why it's timeless. So I think it's very important for young people to identify the characters and say, hey, they're like me, but also this is something that can touch anything. And I'm worried about a lot of stereotypical theatre, which people can identify with, but then it blocks them. And for people who are not a part of that world, it also thinks, okay, yes, that's what I think about those types of people, and that's it. So I like the fact that you have a bit of that, but you have a bit of everything. And also, to bring the classical sense of it is great, to inspire people. And if young people come watch this and think, okay, I want to invest in a bit of Greek classical text or Shakespeare, whatever, that's great as well. So it's great to be a part of that. I don't like to bring in race. I hate that. I'm often, me personally, in my journey, I'm often, yes, the only black person, and that's fine. And this is, I said to Marcus, is the first time I've been in such a black company, and I hate that word. But I like the fact that it's actually trying to do something. It's trying to make people think. And if that can be a part of the change and where theatre's going, then that's a plus. And hopefully it won't be about race, and hopefully we can do plays, and you don't have to all necessarily have slang, and you don't have to be in the press that this is an urban adaptation and this is the original adaptation. Hopefully it won't be about that. But it's definitely a step forward, and it's been a joy to tour this around the UK and all sorts of walks of life, all different ages. I've loved it, and we've inspired them and made them think in a different way, which is important.
How can you go up against that answer? I don't know. Yeah, let's just.
Oh, hi. I'd like to ask: do you see the Antigone's rebellion more as a sense of justice, or is it like teenagers? Because she's that age, isn't it? That sense of justice.
It's your character. See, yeah, kind of. Yeah, I think in a way it is a bit about justice more than teenagers, because it's so easy to look at somebody who's young and just be like, oh, you don't really know anything because you're young. Do you know what I mean? It's just your opinion. But as you grow up and you learn about life, you realise, etc., etc., etc. But sometimes it's nice to have an opinion from a young person which is valid, and treat it like it's valid, and not treat it like it's just coming from a young person. So it's kind of overlooked, which you kind of saw in a way with Tig saying that she wants her brother to be covered as Creole, just completely dismissing it. Whether he had his reasons, she had hers. Her opinion was still valid, and it should have been taken into consideration. So I do feel like it is more about justice than teenagers just,
But in a lot of the Greek tragedies, there's always the consequences, isn't it? And from her action, there would have been a lot of consequences. So there is going to be justice, but then there's lots of consequences all around, isn't there, afterwards?
Yeah. But I also believe, everything happens for a reason. And, when you do the right thing, maybe you'd get the right consequences. Maybe people would start voicing their opinion a bit more about things that they didn't agree about, instead of just keeping quiet and following suit, so.
Right, that's a good point.
But after the show, everybody sort of
Get out of here. And so articulate. I'm gonna have to wind it up.
Oh, sorry. Can I just say something really quick? I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name already. It's Paulette. Hello.
Get out of here, girl. Come on, Paulette. Come on. You don't need the mic, baby.
I just want to say something so quickly. You know, you were talking about being the only black sometimes in a theatre company and having that experience, and you know, you don't like to say that word, but you must embrace it. You know what? My mum told me when I was 6, and I was one of those naughty kids, she was sending me off to brownie camp. And she said to me, Paulette, for the weeks running up to it, I was told, what are you going to do? I'm going to behave myself. What are you going to do? I'm going to behave myself. The day that I was going, she said to me, Paulette, just remember one thing. You are an ambassador for your people. That's never left me. I was 6. It kept me quiet for at least 3 days. But there is something that we absolutely, and this is because it comes from somewhere else, that we are meant to feel negative about who we are. It is an absolute joy, a privilege, an honour. So never forget that, baby. If you're the only one in the room, how many blessings are you giving them? Yeah. It's so important to remember that.
Paulette, these lights, girl, I couldn't even see you back there. But let me just say something to all of you. Paulette Randall, I've known her since I've been in this country. Paulette was a little baby girl. And she is the premier interpreter of the work of August Wilson. She is one of the great directors in theater and in black theater. So anything she got to tell you, you take that. That's platinum, okay? This is the bank, okay? This is the bank. I don't want to end this, and there's 2 people up here that didn't say nothing. So you got 1 minute. You got to say something, brothers. Okay, something.
Hi, my name's Sean. I play Soldier 3. Just going off the fact to do with the whole race within the industry and so forth within theatre, I feel that despite whether this is a black cast or predominantly black cast, I feel like the theme and the meaning behind it is universal. It's not just put within a race where it's just black people it's just going on with. At the end of the day, these issues are going on within families, within working environments where people are going against one another. And as we were saying, you have consequences. But then I again believe that, like what Gamble was saying, if you feel it's the right thing, then you're willing to accept them consequences. And as he was saying, in a sense of, if that's what you stand for, then fight for it instead of being quiet, which I feel that a lot of people nowadays are doing. A lot of people are realizing what's going on around them, but are quiet just because they don't want to face those consequences. Where how many times have you not agreed with something before, and when you've stood up for it, you feel like a weight's been lifted off of your shoulders? And I feel like that's what's going on within this play, and it's universal, and there's no race stamped on it. Yes, it is a predominantly black cast. Yes, people will look at it because of the dialogue we're using, but the message we're giving out is nothing to do with race. And I feel like the message we're giving out is, what anyone can take home and learn from it. And it's been an honour to do these sort of Q&As where you hear this sort of stuff and you can then relate to it. And this is where debates start. But yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Hi, I'm Luke. I played boy and guard. And so just following on from Sean, I mean, even for me turning up on day one, I've never even sort of questioned being part of this company, and I've just seen people for who they are. And going beyond that, going with Ollie and taking the show out on the road, it's never come back in the Q&As and been a question. People have just seen the show for what it is and for who these people are, and just related to the story, which I guess is the most important thing. And I guess thank you for Pilot for doing something different and using different companies. It's been an absolute joy, and it's going to be a shame it's all done in 2 weeks.
Can I just say that on the final Saturday, we'll be doing a live stream on the internet of the show. So if you can't get to see it and you haven't got a chance to see it, it's for free, it's available. It's not NT Live, it's Pilot Live, and we're doing the whole thing with 6 cameras. So please join us.
Oh, I forgot to say this was live. I mean, we got live streaming this, so nobody acting crazy. The thing I want to wind up this in this with is to go back to Marcus, the director, to Paulette, director, and was also a playwright. I've directed one of Paulette's plays back in them. And this is what I believe, and what's the genius of Roy, the genius of his company. You get the universal through the specific. You get as specific as possible, as rooted as possible, as grounded as possible. And then the miracle of the theater, the miracle of art, is that what the audience does is the mirror. They turn it around and they open it like this. And so this is what Roy does with his work. This is what this play is about. These incredible company, this incredible director have rooted this in the specificity of now. So that what happens is that Sophocles' immortal piece of work opens up anew, bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. They've done a mighty tribute to it, and they've also made something new. Nothing is more wonderful in the theater. Thank you all for coming.
And a big thank you to Bonnie for hosting and sharing and joining us this evening. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.